In this video, we're going to walk through the differences between global items and my items inside of Pluto. Pluto is designed to be used by individual agents and also agencies with multiple team members all working together. Now, to make Pluto team friendly and also easy to set up, we created what we call global items. So what is a global item? Well, a global item is an item that can be built out once by a single user and then shared automatically with all users on a team. When you see the word global, think teams. What is a my item? A my item is an item a user can build inside their own account that will only be available to them. It won't be viewed or shared with any users on their team. My recommendation is to build out your account using global items. While there are certain use cases where my items will be helpful, the global feature is easily scalable and it's the best fit for most insurance agencies. Let's take a look at how global and my items work throughout the system. First, let's dive into pipelines. So here are my pipelines, and you can see I have quite a few here. And there's a tab for global pipelines and my pipelines. My recommendation is that you build out everything here under global pipelines. It's just going to make your life easier. So as an admin, you could go through and build out all your pipelines once, and as long as you are setting them up as global pipelines, they will instantly be shared with all the users on your team. That's a much easier scenario, a much more scalable scenario versus having to build this out for every new person you add to your agency. Now, when you build something as a global item, it's obviously shared. And you may be thinking to yourself, I have 10 agents inside of my office. We can't all be sharing one pipeline. With all those deals, it's going to be very cluttered and disorganized. Totally hear you there, but let me explain how you would set up to avoid that issue. So by default, when you come to any of these global pipelines, it is going to load just your leads. If you want to see other people's leads, you could come in here and you could say everyone. And in that scenario, it's going to load all the leads regardless of who the team member is inside of your agency. Or maybe you just want to see a couple team members' leads. You go through and just check, set it up however you like. The easiest way is probably just to check your own name. Then you're just seeing the things that you're working on. How do you create new pipelines? You would just come in here. And if you are on the global tab here, it's going to set you up to build a new global pipeline. If you're on my pipelines, it would set you up to build a new my pipeline. All right, so we've reviewed how global and my items are set up in pipelines. Now let's move on to campaigns. On the campaign screen here at the top, you're going to see two options, global campaigns and my campaigns. You can see I've built out everything in my system here as a global campaign, and that's my recommendation. But of course, you could also build them out as my campaigns. How would you build a new campaign? You would just come right over here and get started. Now keep in mind, when you click new campaign right here, if you are in the global campaign tab, it's going to build a global campaign. If you're on the my campaign tab, it's going to build a my campaign. Now again, the main difference is here, anything that you build out as a global campaign, that is going to be shared with each user on their team. They're not going to have to go out and build out their own campaigns. As an admin, you'll set it up, build it out, and it'll be shared with them. A my campaign, each individual user has the ability to build out their own campaigns, and anything in this section would only be visible to them under their login. Let's move on now to Smart Lists. Here we are in the contact screen, and there's an option called Smart Lists. Go ahead and click that. Now, Smart Lists are really just a way to kind of organize and prioritize your contacts based off specific attributes. And it's a very useful feature, so I'd highly recommend using it. But my point here right now is just that, we have added the global and my items to this section as well. So any type of global smart list that you build out, it's going to be shared with your whole team to use. Any my smart list you create is only going to be available to that unique user that created it when they're logged in their account. Let's see how this works in Quick Replies. Quick Replies, same setup. You got a global Quick Replies tab and a my Quick Replies tab. I think you're getting the hang of things here, but global, anything created in this section, shared with the whole team. Anything built under my Quick Replies is only going to be available to the unique user that created it. Next, we'll explore triggers. Any global trigger I build out here will be shared with my entire team. Any my trigger will only exist inside of the account that created it. The global triggers is a fantastic option to use because it's going to allow you to build out all the automations that are happening behind the scenes one time. And again, it will be shared with all of your users. Finally, let's go ahead and head over to Smart Forms. Here we are. And of course, once again, you see those two tabs at the top, Global Smart Forms and My Smart Forms. Now, the use case for Smart Forms might be a little bit different. What I would typically put under the Global Smart Forms section are things that you want to share with the entire team. So maybe you have a form on your website that people can fill out to request a quote, and you're using just one standardized form for that. That would make sense. Maybe you have a contact us form on your website that can come in just to one generic spot and anybody can grab from it. So there's certain use cases for global forms. There are also use cases for My Smart Forms. So let's say you are a producer inside of the agency and you're going out and you're marketing yourself to loan officers, to real estate agents, at conferences, and you want to make sure that any lead that you generate is coming back specifically to you. It's not shared with anyone else inside the agency. Well, My Smart Forms would allow you to create those forms that route everything directly back to you. So there are definitely use cases for both global smart forms and My Smart Forms. The last thing I'll show you before wrapping up this video is where you can control who on your team has access to global settings. Now, this can be accomplished under My Team section. So click your little profile at the top right here, go to My Team. Now, once this loads up here, you're going to see a breakdown of everyone inside of your agency. Now, right now, it's just me, so I'm going to go ahead and add a new person. But what you'll see, whether you are creating a new user or you are editing an existing user, is that you can select their permission levels. Now, in this scenario, I'll start with a standard user, and then I can come over here and decide if I want that user to be able to create global items. Now, you may just want to have one person in your agency that does the entire build out, and then nobody else can mess with it. Well, in that scenario, you would assign that unique person access to manage global items. And then you would turn it off for anyone that you didn't want to be able to mess with things. So this is where you could set that up. So you decide who can and cannot access the setup, editing, and deletion of global items. So this is a rundown of global items versus my items. If you have any additional questions, we're here to help.